This page showcases two rally cars in action. The top image features a Toyota Celica battling through a water splash, clearly branded with Castrol and Michelin logos. Above it, the title, Sega Rally Championship, is prominently displayed, suggesting this section is related to that game and its course attack manual. The bottom image shows a Lancia Delta Integrale, sporting the iconic Martini Racing colors, also heavily sponsored by Michelin, and other brands like Turbo Garrett. This page seems to visually introduce the concept of course attack manuals within the context of rally racing, possibly for the Sega Rally Championship game. This page is the title page for a course attack manual focused on Sega Rally Championship. It clearly highlights the game title in bold English and Japanese text. Quote, vertically aligned on the left, the Japanese text confirms this is a manual specifically for course attack strategies. At the bottom left, the Famitsu logo is visible, along with text indicating Editorial Department Responsible Editing, pointing to Famitsu's role in creating this guide. Essentially, this is the front page of a course-specific strategy guide for Sega Rally Championship, published by Famitsu. This page is the title page to what looks like a course attack manual for Sega Rally Championship. You can see the words Sega Rally Championship Course Attack Manual in big bold letters. It really grabs your attention. Above that, in Japanese, it says Sega Rally Championship again. Below the main title, also in Japanese, it says Course Attack Manual again, just to make it super clear what this guide is all about. We've got two cool pictures of rally cars in action, one splashing through water and the other kicking up dust on a track, setting the scene for some serious racing action. The page design is clean with a simple layout, focusing on the game's title and visual theme of rally racing. It feels like the starting point for diving deep into strategies for mastering the courses in Sega Rally. This page appears to be the contents page of the Sega Rally Championship Course Attack Manual. At the top it says Contents clearly. Below that there is a list of sections, starting with System Edition on page 4, then Explanation of Various Modes on page 6, followed by 3 Type Rally Cars on page 12, and 5 Settings on page 14. Then it lists Replay on page 16, and Course Opening on page 18. Underneath a section marked with Japanese characters that seem to mean Attack Strategy Edition and numbered 1, there are more entries starting with Championship Mode on page 30, Beginner Course on page 32, Intermediate Course on page 36, Advanced Course on page 41, and finally, Super Advanced Course on page 46. On the right side of the page there are two images, one of a rally car in action and a smaller picture showing a close-up of a Michelin tire. This page looks like it lays out all the sections you'll find in the guide, from basic game systems and car types to detailed course strategies. This page continues the contents from the previous page, now under Attack Strategy Edition 2. It lists sections for Time Attack Mode, Beginner Course, Intermediate Course, Advanced Course, and Super Advanced Course, giving page numbers for each. Further down, it includes sections on a Yoshio Fujita interview and the world of WRC, also with page numbers. The page features an action shot of a Martini Racing Lancia rally car at the top, a Toyota logo on the right side, and a Lancia logo at the bottom left. A smaller image at the bottom right shows a crowd of people watching rally cars. This page features a photograph showing what appears to be rally cars being worked on in a garage or pit stop area, likely at night due to the lighting conditions. The cars are prominently branded with Toyota, Castrol, and Michelin logos, indicating they are rally cars with sponsorships from these companies. You can see mechanics or crew members working on the cars, suggesting a race preparation or maintenance scene. It's a dynamic nighttime shot, capturing the atmosphere of rally racing behind the scenes. This page shows another view of rally cars being worked on, continuing the scene from the previous page. The text at the top seems to be a section title, mentioning System Edition, and something about better running or driving to be achieved, suggesting this section might be about car systems or mechanics for improved performance. The image again features rally cars, with prominent branding like Castrol and Toyota, as well as other sponsors such as Lioneltex and Recaro. You can see a mechanic working on the car, which is marked with the number 3. It reinforces the behind-the-scenes look at rally racing preparation and maintenance in what appears to be a garage or pit stop environment. This page is titled explanation of various modes, and details the game modes available in the Saturn version of Sega Rally Championship. It points out that there are 3 modes in total: the familiar arcade mode from the arcade game, a practice mode, and a Saturn original 2-player battle mode. The text emphasizes that this Saturn version is a very high-quality port, almost indistinguishable from the arcade version, which used the powerful Model 2 Centigrams board. It mentions that the game aims for realism and a simulator-like experience, representing the World Rally Championship. The page shows screenshots of the game, including an options screen where you can adjust settings like handling for player 1 and 2, arcade difficulty, championship laps, time compare, ghost type for time attack, sound options, and key configuration. Another screenshot demonstrates the in-game view from both a rear perspective and a driver's viewpoint.
The text explains that you can switch between these 2 views freely.
It suggests that while personal preference might vary, the driver's view is generally easier to handle, particularly for beginners, as it provides a wider field of vision and feels quicker to control. The rear view is recommended for players who want to carefully observe the car's movements. This page focuses on the arcade mode in Sega Rally Championship, which it presents as the main mode, designed to be a faithful recreation of the original arcade game experience. Arcade mode is further divided into 2 sub-modes: Championship mode and Practice mode. Championship mode pits you against the clock to race through all 4 main courses: desert, forest, mountain, and the extra lakeside stage. The objective is to become the overall champion by completing these stages within the time limit. It's mentioned that if you manage to finish the mountain course in first place, you'll unlock the super challenging lakeside course. Practice mode, on the other hand, is for honing your skills.
You can select any of the available stages and practice on them for a specified number of laps. Importantly, if you've unlocked the lakeside stage in championship mode, you can also choose it for practice here. The overall aim within arcade mode is to achieve the number 1 ranking position.
The next page introduces the time attack mode, a Saturn original feature that amps up the gameplay. In time attack, it's just you, the track, and the clock. You pick a car and course from the same selection as arcade mode, and you can even tweak car settings to your liking. If you've conquered championship mode and come in first, you'll find the lakeside course and the Lancia Stratos added to your choices. You can choose to race for 3 laps or go for an unlimited run. The mode lets you select between a practice-free run or a timed 3-lap run. Your best time is recorded, and if you race the same course again, a ghost car of your fastest run will appear, letting you race against yourself to improve your skills. The screenshots showcase the car and course selection screens and in-game action, highlighting lap times and the ghost car feature. This page introduces the 2-player battle mode for Sega Rally. It highlights that this mode enhances the time attack feature for competitive play. The screen is split vertically, allowing 2 players to race head-to-head. The car and course selection are the same as in time attack mode.
The page mentions that Lakeside Course and Lancia Stratos are available if you've already conquered championship mode. The 2-player mode offers races of 3 or 5 laps, and includes a mode where the winner is decided when someone surpasses a preset target time. The screenshots show the split-screen gameplay in action, displaying in-game elements like lap times, speed, and lap counts for both players. It also notes that camera angles and handicap settings can be adjusted to further customize the head-to-head experience. This page is all about the rally cars you can drive in Sega Rally. It highlights that there are 3 types of rally cars to choose from. For the Saturn version, you get to drive the Toyota Celica GT4R, the Lancia Delta, and the Lancia Stratos, which is a cool addition for fans of the supercar era. The game Sega Rally on Saturn lets you use cars like the Toyota Celica GT4 and the Lancia Delta HF Integrale. These 3 cars are described as machines that have been successful in the WRC, winning championships, and being excellent rally cars. The page shows screenshots of the game in action, with in-game displays showing total time, lap times, speed, like 162 km per hour and 214 km per hour, best times, and course records. It emphasizes that the game recreates the performance of these real-world cars, so you can really put them through their paces in the game. This page continues to showcase the Toyota Celica GT4 in Sega Rally. It mentions that this particular Celica model was a major player in the World Rally Championship, WRC, securing titles in '93 and '94. The game Sega Rally uses this WRC spec version of the car. The page highlights that in the game, the Toyota Celica GT4
and the Lancia Delta HF Integrale have very similar performance, so choosing between them is really a matter of personal preference. The text also emphasizes the Celica Group4's strong reputation as a top rally car in Japan, even outside of the game, reinforcing its real-world and in-game prowess. We see screenshots of the game with the Celica in action, and in-game displays showing total time, lap times, and speed readouts. This page introduces the Lancia Delta HF Integrale as another car featured in Sega Rally. It mentions that while the Lancia is no longer competing in the WRC, it was a very successful car from 1987 to 1992, winning the manufacturer's title for 5 years in a row. The page suggests that in the game, the Lancia Delta and the Toyota Celica GT4, which was mentioned on the previous page, are very closely matched in performance. However, it does note that some players might find the Lancia slightly easier to handle. The text also highlights that the Lancia Delta can reach a top speed of around 227 km per hour in the game. We can see screenshots of the game showcasing the Lancia Delta in action, along with in-game displays showing total race time and lap times. This page introduces the Lancia Stratos as another car in Sega Rally Championship. It mentions that this car is not available from the start, and can only be unlocked by completing the championship in first place on a difficulty level harder than normal. The main highlight of the Stratos is its high top speed, exceeding that of other cars by a small margin, reaching speeds of around 247 km per hour in-game. The text notes that while it has good acceleration, its power might be too much for beginner players to handle. The page includes screenshots of the game showcasing the Lancia Stratos in races, displaying in-game speedometers showing speeds like 226 km per hour, and in-game timers for total race time and lap time. It concludes by stating that the Stratos was originally developed for the WRC, World Rally Championship, and its distinctive form is very impressive. The next page talks about 5 tuning settings available in Sega Rally Championship, specifically for time attack and 2-player battle modes. It mentions that by tuning you can shorten your lap times. The page details 5 customizable settings. Transmission, handling, and tires are featured on this page. For transmission, you can choose between automatic, and mount manual. It suggests mount cars have slightly higher torque, and are better if you are familiar with manual transmission. Otherwise, is suitable. Handling can be adjusted in 5 levels, from slow to quick. Slow handling is described as not suitable for continuous corners, so quick handling is recommended for those who are used to finer controls. Tires can also be set in 5 levels, from soft to hard. Soft tires offer high grip on dirt courses, while hard tires are the opposite, offering higher grip on paved roads. It's advised to adjust tire settings according to the course. This page continues the discussion on tuning your car in Sega Rally Championship, specifically focusing on suspension and blow-off valves. For suspension, it explains that the front and rear suspension values should be considered together to maintain balance. If the front suspension is stiff, it can lead to understeer, where the car pushes wide on corners. Conversely, a stiff rear suspension can cause oversteer, where the car turns in too sharply. Finding the right balance is key. The page then talks about the blow-off valve. In real cars, this affects responsiveness after releasing the accelerator. However, in Sega Rally, changing the blow-off valve setting only alters the sound it makes when you lift off the gas, and doesn't impact performance. Finally, there's a section on recommended settings for time attack mode. It reiterates that manual transmission, mount, cars, are preferred for time trials. It emphasizes minimizing unnecessary drifting to achieve faster lap times, and maintaining grip through corners by downshifting appropriately. It also notes that automatic transmission, cars, may require braking to downshift. For tires, it suggests choosing levels based on the course type. It recommends starting with the default suspension settings, front at 3, rear at 3, and then fine-tuning handling to suit your driving style. For tire levels, it recommends level 1 for beginners, level 2 for intermediate, and level 1 for advanced players, suggesting adjustment based on course type, as mentioned previously. This page introduces the replay feature in Sega Rally Championship, highlighting how it allows players to enjoy their runs from various camera angles. It explains that in time attack mode, if you complete 3 laps within 4 minutes and 10 seconds, your gameplay can be replayed. During replay mode, you're not stuck with just the driver's perspective. Various camera angles are available. The page specifically showcases 2 viewpoints, labeled Viewpoint A and Viewpoint B. Viewpoint A is described as a slightly left rear angle, perfect for admiring the car's stylish appearance, especially when Celicas or Stratos are drifting.
Apparently, it looks incredibly cool from this angle. Viewpoint B presents the opposite angle from the above picture, a slightly right-side view. It seems the camera is positioned further back compared to viewpoint A. This angle is recommended for clearly observing tire behavior, especially during cornering, allowing you to closely watch the tire movements. The page also mentions that you can switch angles during the replay to enhance your viewing experience. Furthermore, if you manage to rank within the top 5, your replay data can be saved in the ranking menu. Replay data can also be saved to a power memory cartridge using 977 blocks of memory. This page continues to explore the different replay viewpoints in Sega Rally Championship. Viewpoint C is described as the standard rear view, perfect for checking out how the car is moving. Viewpoint D gives you a front-on, longer shot, which is great for appreciating the background scenery. Then there's Viewpoint E, which is a rear, longer shot angle, giving an even wider view of the background and encouraging players to look around for hidden details from the development team. Viewpoint F switches things up with a close-up, front-end view of the car, highlighting how cool it looks from this perspective, which is described as a fresh and unusual angle. Finally, Viewpoint G shows a fixed camera position placed on the course itself, which captures the car as it drives past, creating what they call a flowing shot camera angle. This page is all about understanding the courses in Sega Rally Championship. It highlights that there are 4 main courses in the game, designed to feel like special stage sections in a real rally. The game features courses that represent diverse environments, from deserts and forests to mountain roads and lakeside areas. The page explains that Sega Rally recreates the different road surfaces you'd encounter, and you need to adjust your driving accordingly. It then breaks down 4 key surface types and their impact. First up is asphalt, which is described as normal paved roads. It mentions that if your tire settings are hard, grip is better than usual. Next is sand, basically an unpaved surface like soil. If you have soft tire settings here, you'll get better than normal grip. Then there's soil, a typical unpaved road, often with tight corners. It warns players to be careful on these surfaces. Again, soft tire settings are recommended for better grips. Finally, grass and bank describes the roadside areas, mostly grassy. Even if you drive on these, you won't lose much speed, so use the full width of the course. Soft tires are also good here for better grip. The page also has screenshots showing each of these different road surfaces in the game. Essentially, it's giving players tips on how to handle the various terrains in Sega Rally Championship by considering tire settings and how they affect grip on different surfaces. The next page delves into the role of the navigator in Sega Rally Championship, explaining how this feature, common in real rallies, is incorporated into the game. It highlights how the navigator gives advice, both visually and audibly, to help players tackle corners effectively. This advice is presented through icons and messages displayed on screen. The page then breaks down 4 key navigator icons and their meanings. Firstly, a blue icon indicates a gentle corner ahead, suggesting minimal deceleration is needed, and simply steering should suffice. Secondly, a yellow icon signals a corner that requires some slowing down. The advice here is to downshift by 3 gears, or reduce speed to around 180 km per hour to navigate it smoothly. Thirdly, a red icon is a warning for a hairpin or very sharp corner approaching. For these, significant deceleration is crucial, requiring a downshift of 2 or even 1 gear, or dropping below 100 km per hour. Finally, a yellow exclamation mark icon signals uneven terrain or a jump ahead. The advice is to maintain speed, but be cautious upon landing, as car control is reduced in the air, and crashing on landing should be avoided. Essentially, these navigator cues are designed to help players anticipate course conditions and adjust their driving style accordingly, making them a valuable tool in mastering Sega Rally. This page introduces the desert course in Sega Rally Championship, which is described as a beginner-level course with lots of straight sections running through a desert environment. The track surface is all dirt and gradually transitions from paved road to sand. Being a beginner course, most corners can be handled with just braking, except for the final corner. The text also mentions that despite being for beginners, the course includes elements like triple jumps. Subtle differences in driving technique can affect lap times, suggesting it's a good course for time attack challenges to improve your racing skills. The page includes screenshots of the game in action, showing the desert course and the in-game interface. There's also a course map highlighting the layout and labeling turns as easy left, easy right, and even an overjump section. The final corner is noted as a
very long easy right maybe, adding a touch of uncertainty to the description of the course. Overall, the desert course seems designed to be approachable for new players while still offering some technical elements to master for faster lap times.
This page continues the exploration of the desert course in Sega Rally Championship, focusing on the course layout and in-game elements. On the left, there's a course map section visually representing the track, with labels like Easy Right, Jump, Overjump, and Crank, giving players a preview of upcoming turns and features. The right side of the page shows in-game screenshots highlighting the desert course's environment. One image features a zebra crossing the track, emphasizing the desert setting and wildlife. The text elaborates on this, noting that after zebras, players will encounter a herd of elephants, adding to the immersive feel and suggesting the game is visually dynamic with these animal appearances. Another screenshot shows a helicopter hovering near the goal in championship mode. The text clarifies that in this mode, a TV helicopter is present at the finish line, indicating a sense of spectacle and race day atmosphere as you approach the end of the course. The in-game UI elements, like time and speed, are also visible in the screenshots, giving a sense of the gameplay experience. This page introduces the forest course, which is an intermediate level track. The course is set in a forest environment and follows a pattern of starting on paved roads, transitioning to dirt in the middle section, and then returning to paved roads towards the finish. It's described as being a step up in difficulty from beginner courses, featuring a higher proportion of paved sections overall. While the initial paved section is easy to navigate, the middle dirt section introduces challenging hairpin turns and chicanes. The course map on the right provides a visual guide to the track layout, labeling turns such as very long easy right and medium left, and highlighting key locations like the checkpoint, tunnel, and start and goal. The screenshots on the left give a glimpse of the in-game experience. The first image shows the starting line with spectators present, noting a detail about a man in a black t-shirt waving in the audience. The second screenshot is taken inside a tunnel after a long corner and emphasizes the smooth road surface and the visual effect of the tunnel ceiling. Game interface elements, like the race timer and speed, are visible in the screenshots. This page continues the guide on the forest course. The page features a detailed track map on the left, showcasing upcoming corners, starting with a long medium right, followed by a hairpin bend marked as a checkpoint, and then a caution medium right, and finally a medium right corner before reaching the mountain range section of the course. The text next to the first screenshot mentions that after passing the checkpoint, a hairpin turn awaits, described as the most difficult part of the intermediate course. It advises to be prepared for a tough corner right after. The second text section elaborates on what happens after the hairpin, stating a short corner follows, and the left side becomes a sheer cliff. It warns about the danger of falling off the cliff if the car hits the edge. The final text section talks about the last corner where rally spectators gather, emphasizing the popularity of rally racing in Europe, even more so than Formula One. The screenshots themselves show in-game perspectives of driving through these course sections, with visible speedometers, timers, and course information in the user interface. The environments depict a forest track setting, as previously described. This page introduces the mountain course, classified as an upper-level course. It highlights that this course is unique, as it starts within a town and is entirely paved. The description emphasizes the feeling of continuous short corners from start to finish, with very few straight sections. It advises that while drifting through corners might be tempting, focusing on grip driving is key to achieving better lap times. The page also points out the European-style brick buildings at the starting town, and the Sega and Saturn logos on the surrounding signboards, adding to the game's atmosphere. Finally, it mentions a tunnel carved through rock, which leads to what is described as the most challenging section of this upper-level course. The page features two screenshots showing in-game perspectives of the course, including speed and timer details. The track map on the right visually breaks down the course into sections with corner names like Easy Left, Caution Hairpin Right, Medium Right, and Caution K Left, giving players an overview of what to expect. This page continues to explore the mountain course, focusing on specific sections and corners. The course map breaks down the track into segments like long medium left, medium right maybe, and various easy left and easy right corners, also marking checkpoints and the start/goal. The text highlights the hairpin curve as the most challenging part of the upper-level course, advising players to reduce speed significantly
to navigate it successfully. Moving beyond the hairpin, the course opens up into a town area, characterized by narrow corners. Finally, towards the end of the course, a series of gentle corners are featured, which can be taken at an angle. Screenshots illustrate these different parts of the track, showing the hairpin, the town section, and the gentler final corners, with in-game speed and time displays. This page introduces the Lakeside course, which is described as a super-level course that goes around a lake. It's highlighted as a beautiful course, but also a challenging one, requiring high-level driving techniques. The course is entirely on dirt roads, with continuous corners and very few straight sections, making it difficult to recover from mistakes. The page shows a course map for Lakeside, with labels like long medium left maybe, medium right, overjump, medium left, medium right maybe, K right, and long easy left maybe, indicating the types and directions of corners. It also marks the location of the lake. 2 screenshots from the game are displayed, showing in-game views of the course, with speedometers around 150,160 km per hour. The game UI elements visible are total time, lap time, fastest lap, best time, and course record. The text below the second screenshot mentions that after corners in a tree-lined path, the course opens up into a grassy plain, and the background scenery changes dramatically as the race progresses around the lakeside. The course is described as technical, starting with dirt sections near the lake. This page continues describing the Lakeside course, showing the next section of the map and more in-game screenshots. The map section details corners labeled as overjump, long medium left, and medium right, leading to the start and goal and hotel areas. There are also caution and medium right, medium left corners indicated near the hotel, suggesting a tricky final section. The screenshots show the race progressing. In the first image, the car is going at 151 km per hour after 53 seconds of total time, showcasing a tree-lined section of the course. The next screenshot, at 1 minute 02 seconds and 87 km per hour, displays a more open lakeside area, emphasizing the beautiful scenery with white birds mentioned in the text. The final screenshot, at 1 minute 24 seconds and 77 km per hour, shows the finish line area with cheering spectators and the goal gate, signifying the end of the race is near. The text under this final image describes the finish area, with spectators and the goal gate, marking the end of a long race. This page features real-world rally racing, with 2 main images. The top image captures a celebratory scene of rally drivers on top of a Toyota Celica after what seems to be a victory at the Rally Australia Perth event in 1994. The drivers are holding champagne bottles in the air, and the car prominently displays Castrol and Marlboro sponsorship logos. The second image shows the interior of a rally car, focusing on the cockpit area with the steering wheel, gear stick, and dashboard, giving a driver's perspective of the racing environment. These images seem to set the tone and real-world inspiration for the Sega Rally Championship game. The next page showcases more real-world rally action. There's a detailed shot focusing on a stack of racing tires, clearly showing the Pirelli brand and Oz Racing rims, emphasizing the importance of tire technology in rally sports. Below that, another dynamic image captures a Toyota Celica rally car speeding through a water splash, again prominently featuring the Castrol sponsorship, which links it visually to the car featured on the previous page and reinforces the real-world rally inspiration for the Sega Rally Championship game. The next page continues with the real-world rally theme, featuring a close-up shot of a Toyota Celica rally car in motion. You can see the Castrol logo prominently displayed, reinforcing the connection to rally sponsorships and the sport's real-world inspiration we saw in the previous pages. The car, marked with the number 1, appears to be speeding along, with motion blur adding to the dynamic feel of rally racing. The next page seems to be an introduction to a strategy guide, marked as Strategy Edition 1. The page title is Championship Mode, and it says, to reach the goal in first place. The image features a powerful-looking race car at night, captured in motion with light streaks showing speed. The car is prominently branded with Michelin and has large headlights, giving the impression of night racing, perhaps endurance racing rather than the rally style we saw before. This suggests the guide is about achieving victory in a championship setting, likely in a racing game. This page details the desert course, which is a beginner-level track. The target time to aim for is between 55 seconds and 56 seconds and a bit, with a target ranking of 9th place. The page focuses on the first corner, called Signboard Corner, right after the start, The advice is to approach this corner smoothly, gradually moving to the inside, and avoid abrupt steering that could cause skidding. It's a gentle turn, so only a slight steering input is needed. After exiting the corner, the suggestion is to drive in the middle of the road. It also mentions that for this course, braking and shifting down gears are not needed, whether you are using an automatic or manual transmission car. A map of the desert course is shown with points marked from A to F. This page continues the desert course guide and now covers the sections after the initial signboard corner. It talks about an S-curve corner where it's advised to stay towards the outside of the first right-hand corner, as cutting in too sharply might make you hit the bank. The guide suggests taking a line that avoids the bank altogether for safety. If you drive well, you should see the purple rival car ahead. For the next right-hand corner, it mentions not to cut in immediately when the arrow appears, but to approach from slightly further out and then cut in straight to overtake the rival car from the inside. The next section is about a jump section on a straight. It explains that there are 2 consecutive jumps on this straight, after the curve. The advice is to approach the jumps in a slightly outward position, so slightly to the left, and then enter straight for the first jump. After the second jump, there's an immediate right corner, so you should steer right after landing. It warns against cutting it too late and hitting the outer bank. The guide emphasizes going straight into the jump to avoid losing control, especially as the rival car is likely just ahead. By approaching from the right side, you can secure a good line for the upcoming corner and overtake effectively. The screenshots illustrate these sections of the track and the suggested racing lines. This guide focuses on mastering corners and a 3-jump section in a desert course. After a checkpoint, immediately cut into the right corner, aiming wide, then sharply cutting in to touch the inside. Fine-tune steering to avoid the left wall and prepare for the next corner. Successfully navigating this allows you to overtake the blue rival car. The ideal line, car A, is shown, with a slightly delayed, but still effective line, car B, leading to around 9th position. The subsequent 3-jump section requires maintaining a straight, slightly right-of-center approach. Keep steering straight during jumps to fly straight. After the second jump, overtake the yellow rival car from the right if you're positioned centrally. Be cautious of oversteering the gentle left corner following the jumps, and avoid the wall after the third jump, adjusting slightly if necessary. The goal is to maintain position and overtake rivals using precise maneuvers. This page continues the guide on cornering techniques in Sega Rally. The first section, marked B, discusses approaching a left-hand corner from the outside, cutting in slightly early. It advises to go straight and then correct by steering right just before the bank to adjust the trajectory. It mentions that mastering the timing for cutting into the inside of the corner may require practice, and mistakes here could cost you positions down to 9th place, so aiming for a clean exit is important. The next section, CE, focuses on a challenging final corner on the course. It's described as the most difficult point and the final corner, with no visual markers given other than the diagram and screenshots. It's a sharp corner, but the advice is to take it with no brakes, relying on subtle steering adjustments. The key is to aim towards the inside wall and slide through, maintaining speed and then straightening out at the corner's exit. It suggests that if you execute this correctly, you can overtake the red car in front from the inside and then pass the green car on the final straight. The page includes gameplay screenshots showing the cornering in action and diagrams illustrating the racing lines, showing the ideal and slightly less ideal approaches to the corners. The next page focuses on the forest course, an intermediate-level track in Sega Rally. It highlights the initial section of the course, starting from the start line and leading into a long right-hand corner. The guide mentions that after the start, the seemingly straight section actually has slight bends, advising to make small steering adjustments left and right to maintain a straight course. It suggests driving close to the right verge, as it's faster even if you go onto the grass slightly. Following this straight, a long right corner appears. Near the corner, there are braking points indicated, but the advice is to stick to the inside of the corner without overcutting to ensure a smooth and fast clearance of both the corner and any braking zones. The page also displays screenshots of the gameplay and a course map outlining sections marked A to H. The target time for this course is between 1 minute 17 seconds and 1 minute 19 seconds, and a target ranking of 3rd place is set. This page continues the guide for the forest course and details 2 corner sections, Section A and Section B. Section A describes another long right-hand corner, suggesting to approach it slightly from the outside. It advises that while you can cut inside to overtake, be careful not to overdo it, and end up hitting the wall on the outside when exiting the corner. It notes that you don't need to slow down here and can go through at full throttle. Section B covers a left corner located inside a tunnel. The guide explains you can overtake 2 cars in the left-hand corner just before the tunnel. It mentions the left corner before the tunnel entrance is a long, gentle curve where you can hug the inside line and maintain full throttle almost to the limit. As you approach the tunnel entrance, you should brake briefly, cut into the inside of the corner, and then quickly steer back to the right to exit the corner and overtake. This left corner has a narrow road, so it's important to brake momentarily when entering the corner, cut in quickly, and then accelerate to the right to overtake. It says you can overtake an opponent from the inside here. This guide outlines cornering techniques for Sections C and D of the forest course. Section C focuses on a right-hand corner after a left turn. The approach involves starting from the middle line, slightly drifting left, decelerating, shifting to third gear, if manual, and cutting into the right corner sharply, allowing the car to swing wide before straightening. After exiting, small adjustments are needed to stay centered. Section D covers a sharp left turn after a tunnel. Approach from the middle, slightly outside, cut in early, decelerate, third gear if manual, and then countersteer right while accelerating. The guide emphasizes steering for Section D and includes screenshots demonstrating the techniques. This page continues the cornering guide, now focusing on hairpins and consecutive corners. The first section details how to tackle hairpins using full braking. For automatic transmission cars, it recommends full brake drifting and steering correction followed by full throttle. For manual cars, it suggests braking down to third gear after the checkpoint, then second in the middle of the corner, and then shifting up to fourth when the road ahead becomes visible, sticking close to the inside wall to overtake opponents. The next section discusses navigating a sudden left corner followed immediately by a right. It advises prioritizing safety with significant deceleration for a smooth curve. For the left corner, it recommends starting from the outside and then cutting in, correcting the steering afterwards. For the subsequent right corner, it mentions shifting up to fourth gear while moving to the left side for the next corner. The text emphasizes an out-and-out approach and controlled deceleration for this right corner. Finally, the last section focuses on another right corner, suggesting taking a line from the middle to the inside and using full throttle to accelerate through it. The page includes in-game screenshots demonstrating these techniques and racing lines, showing the car's position and speed during cornering. This guide details advanced cornering techniques, focusing on full throttle maneuvers and complex corner sequences. For a right-left corner pair, the advice is to approach the initial right wide, cut in for the left, and maintain full throttle if possible. After the left, brake on the left to overtake. Diagrams illustrate the ideal racing line for a challenging series of 5 corners. Right, left, right, right, right. The initial 2 corners are taken relatively straight. Following these, quick braking is essential before drifting into the third right corner. Then, go full throttle, steer gently left, and correct your line for a smooth exit from the final right. Screenshots illustrate these techniques. A car at high speed exiting a corner, preparing to overtake. A car drifting into a right corner, and a car preparing for another right turn after deceleration. This page highlights the mountain course, an advanced level track where the goal is to finish first within a target time of 1 minute 13 to 14 seconds. The advice focuses on maintaining the lead, stating that after getting into first place by the midpoint, the key is to avoid being overtaken. It emphasizes stable driving without overthinking and avoiding risky maneuvers. The course is described as narrow and winding, requiring early cornering. The page suggests studying the course map to learn the racing line. The course map itself is displayed with sections marked A to H, showing the winding nature of the mountain track. Screenshots of the game are also present, showing in-game action with time and position information. This guide focuses on cornering techniques for the mountain course. Section A describes a series of left-right turns, advising a mid-road entry, cutting left, then quickly right, correcting for outward drift to prepare for the tunnel. Section B emphasizes a light right turn entry. Section C covers the post-tunnel sequence. Enter the tunnel slightly right, brake, and sharply turn left, then quickly right, positioning left for the upcoming right. Brake before the bridge side right, cut right, and correct steering. Finally, Decelerate before the final left, cutting in smoothly. Timing is critical. Incorrect braking or entry can lead to hitting the wall. Screenshots illustrate these techniques.
This page continues the mountain course guide with sections marked D and Circa. Section D is titled, Do Not Cut In Too Much and Lightly Decelerate, focusing on a long left corner. The advice here is to approach from the outside. Start decelerating while turning left, but avoid cutting in too sharply to prevent hitting the wall. It's recommended to steer gradually to the left and accelerate once the straightaway becomes visible, using fine steering to straighten out. The guide mentions the next left corner can be taken without braking. Section C, Avoid Getting on the Banked Dirt, deals with a hairpin turn, described as a major challenge early in the advanced course. The strategy is to decelerate early when approaching, especially if you're using a manual transmission car where you might need to drop to first gear. The guide warns that insufficient braking will cause you to run wide onto the banked dirt, potentially losing position to rivals. It points out that this hairpin is a strong defensive point against overtaking. The page also includes screenshots that visually demonstrate these cornering techniques and show in-game race data. This page details further course guidance, now moving on to sections E and F. Section East, titled City Street is Full Throttle Breakthrough, is all about maintaining full speed through the city streets. It mentions overtaking the leading car before entering this section, sticking to the right side, and then cutting into the inside of the first left corner. The guide emphasizes a series of quick right and left corners, suggesting you can handle them smoothly without slowing down if you react quickly to the turns. It does mention that if things get too risky, a little deceleration might be necessary. The screenshot for this section shows the game in action as you approach a left-hand corner in the city at 179 km per hour. Section F is named Initial Deceleration Only, then Full Throttle. This section begins after a checkpoint and involves a right corner followed by left corners that lead out of the city. For the initial right turn after the checkpoint, it advises a brief deceleration before turning right. It warns against turning in too sharply on this corner and recommends staying near the middle line for the short straight section leading up to the next left corner and then cutting into the inside of that left turn. The screenshot for this part shows the car approaching a left corner in a city setting, this time going at a much faster 217 km per hour. This page continues the course guidance, now moving on to sections G and H. Section G is titled Early Deceleration to Avoid Riding the Dirt, and focuses on corners where it's easy to go off-road onto the dirt. It advises that in these sharp corners, especially at the end of the course, it's important to decelerate early before the corner to maintain control and avoid losing time by slipping on the dirt. The tip is to cut into the corner from the outside a little earlier than usual, decelerate, and then accelerate again as soon as the corner is visible. The diagram illustrates this racing line, and the screenshot shows gameplay at 171 km per hour in this cornering situation. Section H is labeled Special Corner Slightly Pulling Back. This section describes a tricky left-hand corner, considered the last difficult part of the course, that warns that if you don't decelerate firmly enough, you'll end up on the dirt. The advice here is to enter from the outside or slightly inside of the center line. The timing for deceleration is indicated as being when the navigator's voice disappears. You should then cut into the corner around the middle, making sure to straighten the car out as you see the straight section ahead, and then accelerate. The screenshot shows the game at 224 km per hour in this type of corner, emphasizing the need to stay on the paved road. This page details more course guidance for the Lakeside Ultra High Level course, aiming to help players achieve first place with skillful driving. The page emphasizes the narrowness of the course and the continuous corners, making overtaking very difficult. It points out that full-speed driving is only possible on 4 straight sections: the beginning, middle, end, and before the goal. For the rest of the course, driving at 170,180 km per hour and utilizing drift techniques are essential. The text highlights the importance of precise deceleration and masterful handling for this super technical course. A course map is shown, with sections labeled A to J, and the page features gameplay screenshots. The target time for the course is 1 minute 15 seconds, aiming for the top rank. This guide focuses on cornering techniques for the lakeside track. Section A details the start, advising drivers to reduce speed early due to consecutive tight corners. Brake briefly and cut corners, avoiding the outer walls.
After the first right turn, decelerate for the immediate left, preventing tire slippage. Section B covers the right corner after a straight. Approach the left corner by decelerating early, potentially slowing to 110 km per hour if previous corners were mishandled. Exit slightly wide, then stabilize and move left. Enter the subsequent right corner wide, decelerate, and turn right simultaneously. Adjust steering slightly to correct sliding tires and smoothly transition into the next corner.
Gameplay screenshots illustrate recommended racing lines and speed management. This guide continues its cornering tutorial, focusing on two specific sections. Section C details the transition from a right corner into a left corner. Smoothly decelerate, exiting the right turn, and cut into the inside line for the left, avoiding sharp cuts that could lead to hitting the wall. Start accelerating from the middle of the left turn. Section D focuses on a straight section. Drive at full speed to gain an advantage, but be cautious of 3 jumps. Maintain a straight line over the jumps. Position your car on the left side of the track in preparation for the upcoming right turn. Decelerate significantly before the right turn, and cut into the inside line. Section E, Miss Zero, Solid Deceleration, focuses on optimal left cornering. It prioritizes reliable turns over maintaining speed on straights, advising firm deceleration from the outside, cutting to the inside, and accelerating from the middle. Briefly dropping to 100 km per hour is acceptable. Section F. Section 2, Pull away and overtake points, emphasizes recovery after minor errors. It details how to gain an advantage after a left turn. It suggests full throttle on the straight, then decelerating early before the next left corner, using the outside-in middle line again. Position the car on the left side after exiting the turn. This page continues the driving tips for Sega Rally Championship, moving on from left corners to tackle right and gentle left corners. Section G, titled Right, and Sharp Corner, details navigating a series of right turns. The key here is to approach the first right turn from the left side of the road and brake hard. After clearing the first corner, stay on the left side to prepare for the next right, cutting into the inside for the second corner, and then gradually accelerating out of it. Section H, Long, Gentle Left Corner, describes how to handle a long, sweeping left turn. The advice is to slightly reduce speed before entering the corner, and then gently steer left. You can start accelerating from the middle of the corner, gradually increasing to full throttle. However, it warns to be careful as the road is narrow and you could hit the walls on either side. Exiting this corner leads to a long straight, described as a good chance to pull ahead or create distance. The page includes screenshots of the game in action, showing these cornering techniques being applied. The next page continues the driving tips for Sega Rally Championship and focuses on 2 challenging sections of the final stage. The first section, marked with a jump, starts with a right corner immediately after landing from a jump at the end of a straight section. The advice is to brake hard upon landing and quickly steer into the right corner. Then, accelerate and drift into the following left corner, steering fully left while decelerating. Mid-corner, you should accelerate again, straightening the car as you exit and moving towards the left side of the track. It emphasizes precision here, stating there's no room for error in this corner. The second section comes immediately after, with no time to relax. It starts with a right corner, which needs an early entry and simultaneous braking. Following straight after is a left corner, but the guide warns against turning in too quickly after the right, as you might hit the inside wall. Instead, a slight delay in turning left is suggested. As you approach the left corner, steer left, gradually accelerate, and then use full right steering to correct your line as you exit. The advice concludes with a recommendation to go full throttle from there to the finish line. The page includes screenshots of the game demonstrating these techniques and track diagrams to visualize the cornering lines. This page features a dynamic image of a rally car in full motion, kicking up dust as it races along a track. The car is branded with Martini Racing on its roof and side, along with logos for Acropolis Rally and sponsors such as Erg Seacomp and Selenia. It appears to be a visually engaging page capturing the excitement and action of rally driving, possibly setting the atmosphere for the Sega Rally Championship game. The next page seems to be the start of a strategy section, specifically Strategy Guide Part 2, focusing on Time Attack Mode. It looks like this section is aimed at players who are really trying to push for speed in the game. The page features a close-up shot of a rally car, continuing the theme, and prominently displays the Martini Racing stripes.
You can also see sponsor logos, such as Michelin tires, and parts manufacturers like Magneti Marelli, Weber, Selenia, and Turbo Garrett on the car. The names J. Pyronen and J. Kankkunen are also visible, likely referencing real rally drivers who are associated with the sport. It's likely introducing the time attack strategies that will be covered in this part of the guide. This page is focused on the time attack beginner course. It's titled, "This is a course to test your skills," suggesting it's designed to help players master the fundamentals of driving in Sega Rally. The text mentions that this is a beginner course to learn the basics, and even though it's beginner level, you shouldn't underestimate it. It's noted that while it's rally-themed, typical racing game driving techniques aren't fully applicable here. The advice is to mostly drive at full throttle on this beginner course. The target times are given as 53 seconds for 1 lap, and a total time of 2 minutes 43 seconds for 3 laps. Below the text is a map of the course labeled Desert, with sections marked A through F, and the start point clearly indicated. This page continues the driving advice for the beginner course. It first talks about cornering directly. At the start, you should smoothly shift up to 4th gear and move to the inside for the right corner ahead. Even if the fence is close, you should confidently attack the corner. Afterwards, gradually move slightly to the left so you can take the inside line for the left corner. This inside line has a reverse bank. Be careful not to ride the bank too much as you might bounce, so drive while feeling like you are only slightly riding the bank instead of driving right on the edge. The next section is about a right corner and 2 consecutive jumps. After exiting the previous left corner, a slightly tighter right corner will appear. Slide the car slightly just before the corner and exit from inside to outside. The slide should be minimal. On the straight after that, position your car slightly to the right of the center to prepare for the 2 consecutive jumps. The trick for the jumps is to jump straight and vertically relative to the jump ramps and to keep your balance. The right corner immediately after the jumps is banked and jumpable, so control your car to avoid jumping too far to the outside. This page continues the driving tips, focusing on 2 more challenging sections of the beginner course. First up is a tricky corner in the first half of the course. The advice is to enter this corner from the outside and slide inwards, cutting into the corner. You should aim for a wide arc, using countersteering, and be careful not to crash into the wall on the outside. It's important to slide while considering the next corner as well. The second right-hand corner, entering from the outside will make it easier to navigate. Be careful not to oversteer and hit the inside wall, and maintain your line through the corner. Next, it talks about a large set of 3 consecutive jumps. Coming from the previous corner, you should move to the right side, and then go straight through the 3 jumps. Jumping in the center can throw off your balance and make it difficult for the following left corner. After landing from the jumps, cut left into the corner, taking an outside line. Then, prepare for the upcoming crank section and try to take it as directly as possible. When dealing with the crank, avoid turning the steering wheel too much to the left, enter from the outside, and slightly steer back to the right when exiting. It's all about timing to succeed here. This page continues the driving guide with more advanced tips, focusing on a challenging corner called the long easier, and the essential technique of drifting in Sega Rally. The long easier corner is described as the most difficult part of the beginner course, a very long right-hand turn. The guide advises approaching it from the outside after exiting the previous crank section. It's recommended to shift down to 3rd gear beforehand and gradually cut into the corner, aiming to maintain a speed around 160 km per hour. Drivers are cautioned against drifting too wide and should use the full width of the track effectively. To exit smoothly and accelerate into the next straight, you should straighten the car towards the outside edge of the track and then shift up to 4th gear. Moving on to drifting, the guide highlights it as a crucial technique in Sega Rally. The basics of drifting are explained. Before a corner, you should decelerate, steer in the direction you want to turn, and momentarily release the accelerator to initiate the drift. Countersteering is essential to maintain control and navigate out of the drift. The guide mentions 2 methods for deceleration: braking and shifting gears, suggesting players choose the appropriate method depending on the situation. The next page introduces the forest course for time attack mode, described as an intermediate level course. It's highlighted as a highly technical course with numerous challenging corners and a mix of paved and dirt sections. The guide emphasizes the importance of memorizing the entire course layout, noting that unexpected sharp corners can appear suddenly. It suggests players should drive the course repeatedly while consulting the map to fully understand it and intuitively remember the corners to react effectively. The page provides target times for completion, aiming for 1 minute 14 seconds per lap and a total time of 3 minutes 46 seconds for 3 laps to be considered a passing grade. The Forest Course Guide in Time Attack Mode offers driving tips. Section A, the initial straight, emphasizes maintaining a straight line and shifting gears quickly, even utilizing the grass to preserve top speed, while avoiding contact with the track's sides. Section B covers a long left/right corner, suggesting a strategic approach. Starting from the track center, gently steer inwards, then move outwards before sharply cutting in for the second right turn, even using the inside grass. Afterwards, prepare to enter a left-hand corner by sticking closely to the wall. Section C focuses on the final left corner, encouraging sharp entry, using the inside grass and sliding out towards the exit.
This page continues the Forest Course Guide, now focusing on sections C and D. Section C covers a tricky tunnel corner, advising drivers to initiate a slight slide. Start in the center of the track, move outwards, then cut sharply into the left-hand corner, hugging the inside wall. Maintaining a speed around 200 km per hour is ideal, and if you're not comfortable sliding, a touch of braking can help control it. Section D deals with the curve immediately after the tunnel, emphasizing the need to shift down. For the initial left corner, approach from the outside, drop to second gear and slide, utilizing the inside dirt. After exiting, quickly shift back to fourth to prepare for the following right-hand corner. Cut in early. Shift down to second again. Slide, this time utilizing the inside dirt and sliding out to the outside dirt on exit. Screenshots throughout the page visually demonstrate these driving techniques. This page focuses on tackling 2 challenging corner types: hairpin turns and the final compound corner, likely still within the forest course context from the previous page. The hairpin section, labeled as Course 1's most difficult point, advises a sharp speed reduction to second gear. It recommends approaching from the outside, using the checkpoint as a guide, and then cutting in while drifting along the inside dirt. Full throttle is suggested once in the drift, and it warns against going too wide on the exit as failure. After the hairpin, it mentions immediately shifting up to third and fourth gear for a following tight left corner, requiring another downshift to third and potential countersteering if the car oversteers to the left. The final compound corner section describes it as appearing like a gentle right turn before the goal, but is actually a complex corner that can't be taken at top speed. It recommends treating the initial small right-left-right sequence as a single right corner. The guide suggests entering from the inside, initiating a large slide, and exiting wide. For the subsequent tighter right corner, it advises staying close to the left wall and then moving slightly outwards before entering. In the right corner, it recommends smoothly cutting the wheel while sliding to the inside, and then quickly straightening up for maximum acceleration on the final straight. The image includes gameplay screenshots demonstrating these techniques and speed/gear indicators. The next page introduces the mountain course for time attack mode, emphasizing that mistakes here are costly. It points out that compared to the previous 2 courses, the track width is very narrow, and the usual cornering approaches won't work. The guide stresses the importance of precise handling, gear changes, and establishing a good racing line. It also mentions the pressure of walls closing in, requiring strong resilience. The goal for this course in total is under 3 minutes and 24 seconds, with a target lap time of around 1 minute and 11 seconds. Below the text is a map of the mountain course, marked with sections labeled A through H. This map likely visually represents the challenges of the narrow track and corners described in the text. This page continues the guide for the mountain course in Sega Rally Championship, offering specific cornering advice. Section A emphasizes tackling small corners reliably, advising players to shift up gears while cornering and use smooth in-U-in lines to minimize steering and maintain speed. Section B focuses on sharp corner approaches, specifically mentioning a left-right corner sequence after a checkpoint. It recommends downshifting to second gear for the initial left turn and managing subsequent corners with shift operations only, starting with a short tunnel section. Section C discusses sections with frequent gear changes. It describes tight left-right corner combinations where quick shifts and precise steering are crucial. The guide advises preparing for the right corner immediately after the left, downshifting to second again,
and then sliding the car into the right turn while maintaining the inside line and countersteering. Following this right corner, players should aim for the inside of a gentle left turn, then shift up to fourth gear and fully accelerate, using gear changes as the primary method of deceleration throughout this challenging section. The Mountain Course Guide details advanced cornering techniques. Section D covers the difficult hairpin attack on the Sega Rally course, requiring a first-gear approach from the left, initiating a tail slide with hard right steering, and using only downshifts for deceleration. Avoid drifting wide. Practice shift timing. Section E focuses on the approach to the left corner, emphasizing acceleration after the hairpin. Shift up from second to fourth gear above 7,000 revolutions per minute. Entering the left corner after a checkpoint, downshift to second, countersteer, maintain the inside line, and drift while accelerating. Upshift to third mid-corner, and aim for a 150 km per hour exit. Section K highlights the importance of slow, controlled upshifts. This page focuses on techniques for navigating narrow corners within the town course in Sega Rally. It advises caution in these sections, highlighting that while corners aren't extremely sharp, they are frequent and close together in narrow streets with little room for error, making wall collisions a high risk. The guide suggests utilizing the full road width to create wider, more direct lines through corners, requiring minimal steering input. It recommends maintaining grip until approaching checkpoint corners, where sharp corners demand smaller steering adjustments. The text cautions against excessive steering, which can destabilize the car and increase the risk of hitting walls, particularly at high speeds. It emphasizes the importance of knowing a line that maintains speed rather than just aiming for the inside of corners. Finally, the page touches on using an AT car for practice. It recommends thoroughly familiarizing yourself with the course in an automatic transmission car, focusing on corner placement, braking points, and racing lines before switching to a manual transmission car. This allows you to master the course layout and lines without the added complexity of gear shifting. Once comfortable, drivers can then integrate gear shifting for even faster times in an A-mount car, combining line and shift operation. The guide implies that if you can't drive smoothly with an AT car, then mastering the mount car will be even more challenging. This page continues the cornering advice for the town course in Sega Rally, now focusing on areas where drifting is necessary. It describes a tricky section where grip driving just won't work because the corners are too tight and come one after another. For this part, the guide recommends initiating a drift at the first left corner and keeping that drift going through all the corners in that sequence, using a big sweeping line to get through. It points out that unlike earlier city corners where sliding was bad, here it's actually the right way to drive. Then, the page talks about two sharp corners in quick succession right after you leave the town section. These right then left corners are really important for setting a good lap time. The advice here is to keep drifting from the exit of the town's left-hand corners into the upcoming right corner and shift down to second gear as you get closer. While the basic cornering technique is still out and out, you've got a bit more road to play with here, so you can take a slightly wider line if you need to. Even though there's more space, you still need to watch out for the dirt on the sides and avoid going off track. The screenshots on the page show you how to drive these sections, including what speed and gear to be in. This guide focuses on navigating the final left corner of a racetrack using the out-and-out technique. Position your car on the right side of the track after the preceding right turn. Brake and downshift to fourth gear, then further down to third as you initiate the turn. The corner is entered at approximately 185 km per hour, slowing to 130 km per hour mid-corner. Aim for a straight exit, avoiding oversteer and the track edges. The guide advises against using second gear for the final corner, as it may reduce your exit speed. Instead, focus on a slightly faster approach and accelerating well out of the main left turn to the finish line. A small, final left corner at the end is deemed inconsequential. Success at this point indicates proper execution of the previous steps, leading to a strong finish. This page is focused on the time attack mode on a super advanced course in Sega Rally Championship. This course is described as a hidden challenge, only appearing if you're a top player in the arcade version's championship mode or if you know a secret command. It's emphasized that you'll need to use all your driving skills because the course is full of dirt corners that come one after another. The guide gives target times to aim for to be competitive. Around 1 minute 9 seconds for the first lap, aiming for a total time of 3 minutes 17 seconds. But the real goal is even faster, with a 1 minute 6 second lap time and 3 minutes 21 seconds total time. Below the text is a map of the course layout, marked from points A to J, clearly indicating the starting point. It looks like this course is designed to really test even the most skilled Sega Rally players. This driving guide for Sega Rally Championship Super Advanced course details cornering techniques. Section A advises positioning the car left at the start, anticipating the first right turn on a short straight. Shifting up is crucial despite the limited space. Section B covers braking and line selection for a right corner, recommending an out-in-out approach, starting left, shifting to second gear, and sliding into the first right. This is followed by a left corner, also using the out-in-out technique for a clean exit.
Section C focuses on a complex three-corner sequence.
Entering the first right from slightly left, the guide suggests second gear for safety, though third is possible, and an aggressive inside line. Maintaining the slide, enter the next right from the inside. Then, shift down to second early for the final left, running the inside and exiting smoothly. This page talks about achieving top speed and the challenging nature of the super advanced course in Sega Rally Championship. It highlights a long straight section that appears after a left corner, encouraging players to aim for top speed there. The guide points out that even on dirt, speed doesn't drop significantly on this straight. It also emphasizes considering the next right corner and positioning the car slightly to the left beforehand. Moving on, the page then warns that the super advanced course is really for experienced players, not beginners. It explains that the course is full of corners, with narrow roads and no escape zones, making it significantly harder than previous courses. The guide suggests that beginners attempting this course might find it incredibly difficult, even struggling just to complete a lap. It recommends that players who are not confident should practice on the earlier courses to hone their driving skills and master cornering techniques before tackling the super advanced level.
This page continues the driving tips for Sega Rally Championship, focusing on cornering techniques, specifically warning against sliding too much. It describes a sequence of corners, starting with a gentle right-hand bend, leading into a tighter left-hand corner. The guide recommends the classic out-and-out racing line for these corners. It advises to approach the initial right turn in third gear, then downshifting to second to easily take the inside line. The advice is to stick to the racing line and avoid excessive sliding, emphasizing smooth transitions and speed adjustments as key to mastering these corners. Another section advises on keep-in racing for tighter corners, suggesting that grip driving is essential and drifting isn't effective here. The page also features in-game screenshots showing gameplay and a real-world picture of the Lancia Delta Integrale rally car.
The next page continues with driving tips for Sega Rally Championship, now focusing on jumps and consecutive corners. The first section warns about a straight section after some corners that has two jumps. It points out that while tempting to go full speed, the second jump leads directly into a left corner. Going full speed over the second jump will make it very difficult to take the corner afterwards. The advice is to ease off the accelerator before the jump to set up for the upcoming corner and find the best speed. The next section talks about a sequence of two corners following a straight. Since there are many continuous corners in the game, mastering cornering techniques is essential. For these two corners, it recommends decelerating on the straights before entering and using the classic out-and-out racing line. Success depends on the entry speed into the first left corner. The guide suggests approaching the straight at full speed, then firmly decelerating from about halfway to cut into the inside of the first corner from the outside. At the exit of the first corner, you should re-accelerate slightly and enter the following right corner from the outside. The tip is to aim for a slight slide to clear these corners effectively. Accompanying screenshots demonstrate these cornering techniques, showing speed adjustments and racing lines through the corners. The next page continues the driving guide with advice for tackling a right-o-left corner sequence and the challenges of grip driving. For a right-o-left corner combination, the guide highlights that these are quite tight and require substantial speed reduction. It advises that gear shifting alone won't be enough to decelerate sufficiently, so you'll need to use brakes as well. Specifically, for the initial right corner, it recommends dropping to second gear and braking firmly. If you don't decelerate enough here, the following left corner becomes very difficult. The advice is to decelerate early, cut into the inside of the right corner, then shift up to third gear on the exit. For the subsequent left corner, it's best to approach from the outside, shift down to second gear, and maintain an inside line, focusing on a good grip. The next section discusses grip driving, noting that for a long, sweeping left corner, while it may appear that you can take it with grip driving, it's actually quite challenging. It suggests that some sliding is necessary. The key is to slide minimally, while maintaining high speed. To achieve this, you should enter from the outside, quickly apply countersteer to control the slide, and keep the car from going too sideways. Maintain an inside line while sliding, and aim to straighten out and accelerate as quickly as possible on exit. This page continues the driving guide, now focusing on navigating a fishhook skerve chicane and the final corner. Starting with the skerve, the guide points out that this section is tight and requires careful maneuvering. For the first right-hand corner, it's crucial to brake and downshift to second gear early. If you don't slow down enough, you'll struggle with the following left turn. The advice is to cut the inside line on the right corner, then quickly shift up to third gear as you exit. For the subsequent left corner, approach from the outside, downshift back to second, and stick to the inside line, emphasizing grip. The text also mentions that you might need to use countersteering if you're sliding. Moving on to the final corner, the guide mentions this corner is easier than the previous chicanes, and you should aim to maintain as much speed as possible. The basic technique is still out and out, but you should take a line slightly to the left and cut right into the corner. It suggests that for this right-hand corner, grip driving is possible, but if you're not confident, you can slide a little. The key is to maintain speed by minimizing deceleration and focus on a good line to carry speed through the final corner.
This page is an interview with Yoshiro Fujimoto, a rally driver. He is introduced as someone who supervised the Saturn version of a game, following on from the arcade version. The interviewer asks him about his successful year, mentioning his victory in the Safari Rally as the first Japanese person to achieve this. Fujimoto responds by talking about joining Toyota Team Europe as a works driver in 1994 and his 2 years of experience in the WRC. He explains that his Safari Rally win was due to the car, driver, and team support working together perfectly, highlighting the importance of preparation and teamwork in rally driving and suggesting that this victory is a step towards further achievements.
Rally driver Yoshiro Fujimoto discusses the appeal of motorsports, particularly rally driving. He highlights the thrill of controlling a car as an extension of oneself, emphasizing the strategic thinking and adaptability required by the constantly changing conditions of rally courses compared to circuit racing. The unpredictable nature of rally, with its unknown turns and environmental factors, makes it exciting. Fujimoto also details the intense physical and mental demands of rally driving, which require extended focus and specialized training programs. He then discusses his involvement in the Saturn version of Sega Rally, praising its accurate recreation of the rally experience. He mentions contributing his expertise and data to the game's development, ensuring it captured the authentic feel and excitement of rally driving. The development team's first-hand experience at an Indonesian rally further enhanced the game's realism.
Yoshiro Fujimoto discusses Sega Rally, emphasizing depth over difficulty. He believes the game's evolving gameplay, unlike predictable strategies in other racing games, encourages adaptation and pushing limits. Sega Rally offers a virtual rally experience, potentially expanding the real-life rally fanbase, a motorsport with fewer televised events due to logistical challenges. Fujimoto highlights the game's appeal, mirroring the real-world rally driver's skill against changing conditions. The game's unpredictable road surfaces, weather, and on-screen instructions reflect the need for quick decisions and adaptation, similar to real rally driving. He suggests that the game, although challenging, enhances the experience, attracting both serious gamers and those aspiring to real-world rally.
The next page showcases a photograph of a group of individuals proudly displaying a banner for the Drivers Club Firenzevola S. Marco. The banner also features the One Sport logo, alongside a list of names including Andrea Aghini, Sauro Farnocchia, Franco Cunico, Steve Evangelisti, Piero Liatti, Alex Alessandrini, Angelo Medeghini, and Dio Quarantani. These are likely members or prominent figures associated with this drivers club. The backdrop of the photo reveals a scenic mountainous landscape with a winding road, possibly hinting at rally driving locations. It seems to be a community connected to motorsports, potentially related to the rally spirit discussed previously. This page showcases a dynamic photograph capturing the essence of rally driving. We see a rally car, specifically a Toyota Celica, navigating a winding mountain road. The car sports iconic sponsor logos like Castrol and Michelin, typical of rally racing. A lone person stands by the roadside, seemingly observing the rally car as it speeds past. The rugged, mountainous landscape with rocky cliffs and sparse vegetation emphasizes the challenging terrains often encountered in rally competitions. This image evokes the spirit of adventure and high-speed action associated with rally driving, connecting visually to the rally theme introduced in the previous page about the Drivers Club. This page features a vibrant image of a rally car in action. It looks like a Lancia Delta Integrale, given its distinctive boxy shape and Martini racing livery. The car is captured mid-drift on a dirt track, kicking up dust as it navigates a bend. The backdrop is a natural, slightly wild setting, with a stream and rocky terrain, which reinforces the rally racing environment. The iconic Martini racing stripes and Michelin logos are clearly visible on the car, showcasing prominent motorsport sponsors. This image strongly resonates with the rally theme, similar to the previous page's Toyota Celica, but highlights a different iconic rally car and a more dynamic action scene. This page delves into the world of WRC, explaining what makes rally driving unique and appealing. It starts by clarifying that unlike most modern car races held on circuits, rally racing takes place on public roads, sometimes even venturing onto unpaved paths through diverse and challenging natural environments like rain, snow, and scorching sun. The page points out that while rally car speeds might seem slower compared to Formula One cars, with average speeds of around 100 km per hour in special stages versus Formula One's 250 km per hour, the true spectacle of rally lies in the incredible skill of drivers navigating varied terrains, including uphill and downhill sections and sharp curves. The beauty of rally isn't just about speed, it's about the breathtaking drifts and the driver's masterful technique in cornering at high speeds. The text emphasizes that rally drivers are often considered the best in the world due to their ability to handle cars expertly in extreme conditions, whether it's snow-covered roads or dust-filled tracks. The page concludes that the essence of WRC's allure lies in the beauty of these skilled drivers and their machines performing in the heart of nature. The next page showcases a striking image of a car navigating a precarious, winding mountain road. The text highlights the intensity of rally driving, emphasizing how even on mountain roads so dangerous that escape seems impossible, the drivers are pushing their cars to full speed, embodying the thrilling and challenging spirit of rally racing discussed in the previous page. Rally racing, unlike circuit races, is a long-distance endurance sport. Events span 3 to 7 days, covering at least 2,000 kilometers. The course, called a route, is divided into legs and consists of common run sections, untimed transit, obeying traffic laws, and special stages, SS, the timed competitive sections. Regulations dictate a minimum of 200 kilometers of SS and a 5-to-1 ratio of common run to SS distance. SS events are the main attraction, drawing spectators to closed-off, circuit-like areas. Fans plan viewing locations to maximize excitement. The article emphasizes the sport's history, citing events like the Rack Rally in England, and highlights the thrill of witnessing rally cars at high speeds. The example of the Tour de Course illustrates how rally courses, even in compact examples, can be extensive with significant SS distances. This page discusses the role of the co-driver in rally racing, comparing it to being a human car navigation system. It points out that rally racing is unique because of this co-driver role, unlike other races. The profession is described as extremely tough and risky, almost like gambling with your life, especially when driving at high speeds on dangerous roads without guardrails. The page emphasizes how crucial the co-driver is for accurately communicating the course conditions to the driver, using predetermined short words. It explains that drivers rely heavily on the co-driver's information, especially when approaching blind corners at speed. Essentially, both the driver and co-driver are putting their lives on the line. The text also mentions the WRC and Rack Rally, noting that in WRC, except for the Rack Rally stages, public practice sessions are allowed. This allows drivers and CO drivers to learn the course beforehand and memorize the conditions, highlighting the importance of preparation and the co-driver's pace notes. The page stresses that these pace notes need to be incredibly precise and detailed, as they are essential for safety and success and can be a matter of life and death. The article starts by referencing the Sega Rally game and how players might notice the co-driver's instructions, linking the game experience to the reality of rally driving. The next page continues the discussion about the co-driver's role in rally racing, emphasizing the difficulty of communication. It mentions that on long mountain roads with no landmarks, it's almost impossible for the co-driver to give instructions like, next left curve, cliff ahead. Furthermore, the noisy car and the fact that both driver and co-driver are wearing full-face helmets makes shouting or talking almost impossible. To solve this, they use what's called an intercom, a transceiver. The text humorously points out that if the intercom fails, they might end up going straight off a cliff. Referencing the Sega Rally game again, it tells the player to pay close attention to the co-driver's voice in the game, highlighting the courage and role of the co-driver. It suggests that listening to the co-driver's instructions carefully might even improve your time in the game. The page features a large image of a rally car's interior, showing the driver in action with the co-driver's pace notes visible. The car is branded with sponsors like Toyo, Castrol, and Recaro, common in rally racing. This page introduces the Toyota Celica GT4 as a machine that Japan is proud of, calling it the world's fastest machine. The page features a large action shot of the Celica GT4 rally car, clearly showing sponsors like Castrol, Michelin, and Cibi, as well as Toyota Team Europe branding. The text discusses the impressive participation and success of Japanese companies in motorsports, highlighting Honda's achievements in Formula One as a prime example, especially during the era of Ayrton Senna and McLaren Honda, which marked a peak in Formula One popularity. It draws a parallel between Honda's dominance in F1 and the Toyota Celica G4's impact in the World Rally Championship, WRC, suggesting that Toyota's rally success, like Honda's in F1, brought significant recognition to Japanese motorsports on a global stage. The page also mentions the name Toyota Celica GT4R and points out a key difference between Honda and Toyota's approaches. While Honda partnered with McLaren for engines in F1, Toyota developed its own engines. The next page continues the discussion of the Toyota Celica GT4, emphasizing its prowess and capability to even challenge European sports cars on public roads. It positions the GT4 as possibly the strongest Japanese car in the long history of the GT4 and WRC, placing it in the top tier of WRC champion cars. Interestingly, the Celica's participation in WRC is noted to be quite old, starting around 1976, about 20 years prior to the period discussed. The text highlights the significance of the GT4 era starting around 1988, coinciding with the rise of the Lancia Delta. From 1989 onwards, with talented drivers like Carlos Sainz, the GT4 achieved great success. Even after Sainz's departure from Toyota, the GT4 continued its championship legacy, becoming a champion car in 1993 and again in 1994. Referring to its appearance in Sega Rally, the GT4 is mentioned as the 1995 model. The article notes that while many Japanese cars might have bland designs, the Celica GT4 stands out with its aggressive and striking styling, setting it apart from typical Japanese car designs. When compared to rival champion cars like the Lancia Delta, the street version of the Celica is considered somewhat more Japanese in interior design, but still highly appealing, making it a desirable champion car to own and drive. This page showcases the story of Toyota's rally efforts, focusing on the pivotal role of Ove Andersson and the establishment of Toyota Team Europe, or TTE. It explains that around 23 years prior to the time of writing, if Andersson hadn't chosen Celica, Toyota's current WRC success might not have happened. The text details how Andersson, a rally driver at the time, entered the 1972 RAC Rally with a Toyota Celica. Despite the car lacking power, he achieved 9th overall and a class win. This success secured Toyota's support for him. With just 4 mechanics, Andersson formed TTE in 1975, based on this support. The narrative continues with Carrot's journey in the 1000 Lakes Rally, highlighting their first overall victory with the Celica, marking Toyota's first major win. The team continued to achieve high results, relocating their base from Brussels to Cologne, in Germany in 1979. Cologne became a crucial development hub, making Toyota's racing activities indispensable to the brand's identity. The text mentions TET's shining battles, particularly from 1989 onwards, when they brought in drivers like Carlos Sainz, described as a matador of driving. This era marked their peak, especially with the Celica GT4, which became a champion car. The image at the bottom of the page is a photo of a Toyota Celica rally car in action, featuring the Castrol and Toyota logos prominently, illustrating the racing success discussed in the text. This page continues the story of Toyota Team Europe, or TTE, explaining how after Lancia left the World Rally Championship, Toyota stepped up, achieving consecutive championships in 1992 and 1993. The Celica GT4 is highlighted as a dominant force. The team itself is described as very international, drawing staff from 18 countries and employing around 200 people, emphasizing their global reach in the rally world. It mentions that Tret's main focus was WRC participation with Toyota cars, particularly the Celica GT4, for vehicle development and manufacturing. Beyond just Toyota's funds, TTE also independently developed dress-up kits and tuning parts for various Toyota models like Celica, Aristo, Mr. 2, and RAV4, catering to Toyota fans. The page also notes TTE's expanding activities beyond WRC, including participation in the British Touring Car Championship, BTCC, from 1995, aiming for success there and possibly even Le Mans 24 hours in the future. In 1994, TTE welcomed Japanese driver Yoshio Fujimoto, who then achieved the first Japanese victory at the Safari Rally in 1995, further boosting Toyota and rally fan excitement. Finally, the page includes a table listing Getz rally results from 1976 to 1994, highlighting their consistent top placements and wins, especially in the early 1990s. The next page showcases the excitement of rally racing with two dynamic images. The top image features a Martini Racing branded Lancia car in full rally action, kicking up dust as it speeds along a dirt track. The lower image shows another rally car, this time with Castrol and Marlboro branding, also captured mid-race on a dusty course. Both images vividly convey the speed and intensity of rally motorsport. The next page continues to immerse you in the world of rally racing, with two more action-packed images. The top image again captures a Martini Racing Lancia rally car speeding through a dusty track, with a crowd of spectators watching from a distance. Below it, another rally car, this time a Toyota, is shown in motion, prominently displaying Castrol and Toyota branding. Both images emphasize the gritty and exciting nature of rally motorsport on dirt roads. The next page showcases the iconic Lancia Delta HF Integrale rally car in action, continuing the rally theme. The image is dominated by a dynamic shot of the Martini Racing liveried Lancia Delta tearing through a dusty rally stage, number 6 emblazoned on its side. The Japanese text highlights the Lancia Delta Integrale as a legendary name in rally history, driven by the Squadra Corse racing team. It emphasizes the car's dominance in the World Rally Championship, WRC, from 1987 to 1992, stating it achieved the peak of rally racing for 6 consecutive years and earned the title of Rally King. The text also mentions the evolution of the Delta, starting from the Integral and progressing through HF4WD, Integral 16V, and finally the Integral Evolution, responding to ever-increasing competition. It points out that while the basic form remains similar, the body was continuously refined and improved. Finally, it mentions that the version appearing in Sega Rally is the most evolved, final evolution body. The next page continues to celebrate the Lancia Delta, a truly legendary rally car. It explains that the rally world was initially dominated by cutting-edge Group B cars, but due to accidents and rule changes, this era ended. Out of this shift emerged the Lancia Delta, a car that at first glance seemed more like a stylish family vehicle than a sports car. Debuting in 1980, it had already been around for 15 years and 7 years since its initial release by the time of its first WRC victory. Despite this unassuming start, the text marvels at how such a car could thrive in the demanding world of motorsports. The page highlights the Delta's incredible winning streak in the World Rally Championship, starting in 1987 with 9 wins out of 13 races, then continuing with 10 wins in 13 races in 1988, 7 wins in 10 races in 1989, 10 wins in 10 races in 1990, and 10 wins in 10 races in 1991, and finally 6 wins in 10 races in 1992, when the Works team withdrew. Even privateer teams like Jolly Club and the Sega Rally Team's Delta, which remarkably won 8 out of 10 races, continued its winning legacy, securing 6 consecutive championships. Furthermore, in the Spanish Catalunya Rally, Delta cars impressively occupied 7 out of the top 10 positions. This outstanding record firmly establishes the Delta as a true rally king and demonstrates the enduring Lancia bloodline of champions. This page continues the story of Lancia and their rally legacy, focusing on Squadra Course. It mentions that Lancia will celebrate its 90th anniversary in 1996, emphasizing its Italian heritage and status as a motorsport icon, akin to Ferrari and F1 but for rally. While Lancia's factory team activity ceased in 1993, they had an incredible run of 20 years, participating in 16 works entries and achieving 10 world championships. The text then delves into Lancia's rally history, highlighting 1965 as a pivotal year, roughly 30 years prior. It introduces Cesare Fiorio, who led Lancia's motorsports division from its early days and had prior experience in F1, managing teams with drivers like Alain Proust and Nigel Mansell at Ferrari. The page then elaborates on Squadra Course, emphasizing its role in making Lancia the king of rally once again. It mentions that Squadra Course became particularly famous from 1974 onwards, with the introduction of the Lancia Stratos. This was during the supercar era, and the Stratos represented a shift from using commercially available cars as rally vehicles to purpose-built machines. The text explains that previously, rally cars were generally based on cars sold to the public to boost sales, but Fiorio at Squadra Course revolutionized this thinking. They focus solely on creating cars designed for winning rallies, regardless of sales considerations, leading to the Stratos and Lancia's unparalleled rally success. This page discusses how Squadra Course brought Lancia back to the WRC after a 6-year absence, debuting the Lancia 037 Rally in the 1982 season. At the time, 4WD cars were becoming the trend in rally racing, a system now common even in regular cars. However, due to reliability and technical issues, 4WD was not yet fully established in the rally world. In 1981, Audi's Quattro achieved its first victory, changing perceptions, and by 1982, the Quattro became the championship car, leading many to believe 4WD was essential for winning. Surprisingly, Squadra Course chose not to use 4WD, opting instead for a 2WD-037 rally. This old-style machine with a beautiful, flowing body challenged the technically superior Audi Quattro. The text suggests that perhaps they felt the upcoming high-tech era would diminish the romance and elegance of rally cars. They believed their 037 rally, with its beauty and style, would stand out. The page highlights the Lancia 037 rally as active from 1982, showcasing its streamlined bodywork in contrast to the rugged feel of 4WD cars, emphasizing a sense of elegant fighting spirit. The text concludes by mentioning Lancia's withdrawal from WRC in 1991 after the Delta's 5th consecutive championship, suggesting they felt there was nothing more to gain in the competitive arena, wanting to conclude their reign with style and grace befitting a true champion. This page looks like the publication information for a manual, specifically for Sega Rally Championship. It states the title is Sega Rally Championship Course Attack Manual, and it was first published on January 25, 1996. The publisher is Aspect, and the editors are listed as various individuals including Ne and A.
The editing was handled by ASC2 Corporation,
and also details the people involved in areas like structure, ad/cover design, production cooperation, editing cooperation, photography, and photo provision. Copyright belongs to Sega from 1995 and ASC2 from 1996. It also mentions that Sega Saturn is a registered trademark of Sega Enterprises, and this book is published under license from Sega Enterprises. Finally, it gives the ISBN number and printing information, stating, "Printed in Japan." This page is the front cover of what appears to be a manual. It clearly states, Sega Rally Championship Course Attack Manual, in large, bold lettering. It is likely the manual itself, following the publication information detailed on the previous page. This page appears to be the front cover of a guidebook titled, Sega Rally Championship Course Attack Manual. The cover prominently features the game title in large, bold lettering. Below the title, it's labeled as a manual in English. The page also displays 4 small images, which seem to be maps of different courses: desert, forest, mountain, and lakeside, giving a preview of the game's variety and environments. In addition to the title and course previews, the page includes standard book information like the ISBN number, a barcode, a price of 880 yen, 854 yen excluding tax,
and publisher information listing ASC2 as the editor's producer and Aspect as the publisher.